you spare me over till another year?
System malfunction.
So every year, there are these gatherings that are set up for these large corporations where they rendezvous at some exclusive resort so that all of their key departments can get together and collaborate and strategize on what the plans are for success for the upcoming year. I know that every single department within a company is important, but I'm talking about the departments that are considered factors or the ones that actually move the needle as it relates to the company's success. And for me, like, this is always a really, really cool time. But on the other side of that coin, it creates a bellyache for me and a lot of worry, for some reason. And I'm going to share those reasons with you a little bit later in this video. So make sure you stick around for that. But like I said, it's a great time because you have all of these internal leaders. We're talking about very deep minds, individuals that have, come out of massive institutions. And in a lot of cases, these same people have worked for other large companies. So they really, really have a grip on business and understanding the nuances of business. But then not only that, outside of your own company that they're currently working at, usually their colleagues and the circles that they move in are like-minded. So they got tons of data that they can bring back to their internal partners in their organization, because we all know that birds of a feather flock together. So intelligent minds would normally hang around other intelligent minds. Now, back to what I was saying, that it's an amazing time for me in a lot of ways. It's a great time because you have these internal business leaders who are well versed in the economy or economic trends and how they affect business in its various ways, right? So I'm privy to a ton of market information, which not only adds to my business knowledge, but it also helps me refine my acumen. And so it makes it easier for me to navigate all of the business complexities that I may run into. Well, like I was saying, so everyone has booked their flights and they're all flown into this exclusive resort. Everyone is flown in from different parts of the world and the country. And so, everybody gets there, and usually your days are jam-packed. I mean, they are filled anywhere between 8 to 12 hours of just information. And I'm talking about, like, you are exhausted at the end of the day. So, you get up in the morning, everyone meets down in the restaurant or a ballroom, whatever they've decided. And everyone's, hugs and kisses, high-fiving, because they know these people, but they don't know these people in a lot of ways. Like I said, there may have been telephone calls. You may have seen these colleagues copied on emails, or maybe you shared a virtual meeting with some of these folks, but you just really never had the opportunity to meet them in person and get to know them on a personal level. So, everyone gets up in the morning, they have their breakfast, and then they all break out into these conference rooms and just get their brains filled with all this information. So by the end of the day, your mind is jello. But the day's not over, because a lot of times there are dinner functions that are held after this. So everyone gets the opportunity to go back to their hotel room, get freshened up, and meet at a rendezvous someplace. Usually it's a really nice restaurant, a few different restaurants, where they'll have different groups all sitting together so that they can continue their collaboration and just breaking bread with each other and getting to know a little bit more about these folks on a personal level. And so, you can get to these restaurants and everyone's still cool. Everyone's buttoned up in their most professional manner. And then the first round of drinks get ordered, right? There's a lot of conversation going back and forth between everybody. It's just a great time. And if you were a fly on the wall or a table inside of the restaurant looking at this function, I mean, you would think that, man, these guys are having a great time. It's all on the company's dollar. You get to order whatever it is that you want for the next few days, so it's all good. And then the second round of drinks come out. Right? Everything's still copacetic. Everyone's on their best behavior, and we're having a good time. But somewhere around the third or fourth drink, depending on the tolerance of these people, is where the music stops. And it's at that time, for me, as an African American working in corporate America, that bellyache that started a few months back leading up to this function starts to realize itself. And as an African American working in corporate America for the last few decades, like I said earlier, most times my colleagues or people within these massive corporations are predominantly white or of Caucasian descent. And as you may or may not know, white people and black people don't grow up in the same areas. I mean, they just don't cohabitate in the same neighborhoods in mass. Sure, there's some overlap where you find that some black folks reside in predominantly white communities and vice versa. So when it comes to understanding each other's backgrounds and cultures, there is clearly a definitive line that exists. And this isn't all instances because, especially if you played sports, they would spend a good amount of time with each other in each other's neighborhoods, just visiting, sometimes sleeping over. But rarely you have large numbers of Caucasian people that will spend a significant amount of time in black neighborhoods or in your house with your family, which would normally put them in a position where they can better understand, black folks as a whole through this small family, kind of use that as a microcosm to kind of, get a general sense of who black folks may be. But this is really not the case because, they're not sleeping over all the time, having breakfast or dinner with your family, right? They're not giving, which is customary for black folks, especially when we are in the presence of our elders. Like there's always, the reference to their last name, Mr. and Mrs., which is considered respect. And, black people are a very passionate group of people. I know that the media display of black folks don't show you that. And people need to keep in mind that what you see in the media of African Americans, especially when it's negative, that's a very, very small part of the community as a whole. But like I said, white people don't grow up in our neighborhoods. They don't spend a significant amount of time with us. So the media is where they get their understanding of black people. And white people, I am here to tell you that that's not all true. And for me, this is clear. And it becomes extremely apparent at these functions. Once you sit down for dinner, and like I said, you get to your fourth or fifth round of drinks, the conversation is always cordial leading up to that point. We're fresh out of these meetings, so everyone is still in their professional mindset. But for me, I'm just waiting for the witching hour. The moment is around the corner with the next sip or the next few sips that somebody might take. And so when everyone is, able to kick back, relax, and just, let it all hang out, there's still a large amount of work that I have to do. Even after all of the information that was was dumped on us in the conferences earlier. Knowing that, I'm probably around some folks who don't really understand me. They may feel a little bit uneasy, even though they can tell that I'm an educated individual and I work for the same company that they do. I may even hold a higher title than they do, but something always makes them a little uneasy. And I know what that is. I'm going to try and talk about that in just a second here. But, at some point, someone always says, right? They start asking these questions, hey, what do you think about the Black Lives Matter situation? Or, hey, did you vote for Barack Obama because he's black? Or, it'd be stuff like that, man. Why do black people loot their own neighborhoods or their own businesses? Or someone has a story that they want to tell, and it's, hey, I used to live in the same neighborhood as these black folks, but they were nice people. Not really realizing that qualifier that they just threw in between there, that coordinating conjunction, tells a whole lot. Or, hey, bro, I'm not racist, but, there's N words and then there's black people. There's clearly a difference. It will be an onslaught of this. And because this is such a regular occurrence, I can't come to the conclusion on anything else other than these are genuine questions that these people are asking. They're not trying to be malicious in any way, because it happens so often that, that's the only conclusion that I can come to. And what's really alarming is that everyone else in the group, right? Mind you, oftentimes I am the only chocolate person in this group, but it's alarming that no one else in this group amongst these Caucasians can see or realize that this isn't right. Like, in a way, it's an assault. And I'm not saying that the person is, just an absolute bad individual and all this is done out of malicious intent. A big part of me wants to believe that, these people genuinely want to know, because like I said, they just don't know who black people are. I've had these conversations with a lot of other African Americans in these companies, and it seems that we're all on the same page. We know what it is. We know what is going to be coming, and we have conversations leading all the way up to it. It's just a matter of time before these questions start happening. In the back of your mind, you're like, man, these folks were all in business suits, all buttoned up, clean, right? Heavily articulate, polished, professional. But after that fourth or fifth cocktail, as an African American, it's like, man, this is a pseudo Klan rally. And the reason I say that is because, like, as these questions are being fired off to you from someone, or maybe even two or three people, everyone else at the table or at the function is intently listening for your answer. I know that I'm not the only one who feels this way or who have experienced this, because, like I said, I've had these conversations with other professionals who share my reflection, and we all have similar stories. But I want to show you a couple videos of, these people who eventually become intoxicated and they pull the mask off, and you start to see exactly how they truly feel. Because they say, right, that alcohol is the truth serum in a lot of cases. So take a listen to these two clips or three clips that I'm going to show you, and we'll come back on the other side.
Need to leave.
Oh, you need
You
to
do not
leave.
talk
No,
to
you
us
need
like
to
that.
leave.
What's wrong
You
with
need
you?
to leave.
Asian piece of
You need
Oh
to
my
leave right
God.
now. Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm out.
Get out.
The man you see here is the CEO of a tech startup.
Next, this Friday night, the CEO fired from his own company after a racist rant recorded inside an Uber. The driver had asked that CEO to sit in the back seat, and then what followed. Here's ABC's Marcus Moore.
The shocking exchange took just seconds to have a life-changing impact on an Uber driver and a CEO.
Are you serious with me?
No, I don't like when people sit in the front, period. I'll cancel and refund you.
It happened last Friday night in Scottsdale, Arizona. Hans Berglund unleashing a racist rant.
You're a
I was in shock, and I shamelessly felt like laughing because I did not know this was actually real.
Berglund apologized and was fired from the fertilizer company he created, speaking to ABC affiliate KNXV.
So blown out of proportion.
A local connection as racist remarks are caught on camera in California. This time from a man who even identified himself and the Sharon company he's the CEO of, while verbally attacking a bartender. First News reporter Lindsay Watson with the shocking video and the woman who says she will never forget recording it.
A racist rant caught on camera.
Dark-haired dumb.
A customer turning verbally aggressive, even using the N-word after bartenders cut him off from having another drink and ask him to leave.
Don't worry about me, Saudi Arabia.
What did you say? What did you say to me?
The woman's voice who you hear is Rebecca Hernandez, a bartender at Out of the Barrel Tap Room in Fresno, where this all happened Tuesday night. She recorded the encounter as it began to escalate, later sharing it on social media.
Just leave. Please leave. You know, I stand my ground pretty well, but to be quite honest, I was terrified.
We talked to Hernandez about the encounter over the phone this afternoon.
In my 10 years of working in the service industry, I've never dealt with racism. You know, it was just whole new territory for me.
Incredibly, the man even identifies himself in the video and his company.
What was your name again?
Jason Mother Wood.
I'll remember it.
Insights and 5 other digital marketers.
I'll remember it. I'll remember it, Jason Wood. Thank you.
We've since learned Wood is the CEO and president of the Sharon-based digital marketing company he says in the video, Actionable Insights. Although he's responded to requests for comment from media outlets in California, he's yet to return our efforts to reach him.
There are some key things said from these folks who are hurling these comments at these folks who are just sitting back enjoying themselves, right? Did you take note that these people were C-level business folks? We're talking about leaders, people who have power to hire and fire, and people who have power to make your lives a living hell. The reason I showed that is because, you know, as an African American, you know, a lot of times, I mean, I don't know if I've ever gotten to that point. I know that I get really welled up inside and angry, but you'll never see it on my face, especially at these events, because if I was to bubble this up to somebody like an HR or, you know, one of my team leaders, there is a huge fear that one of my team leaders shares the same sentiment as those C-level executives that you just saw in the previous videos. So what good is it going to do me to go talk to somebody in HR who may think this same way, come from similar backgrounds, but because they work in a professional environment, right, they got to try their best to mask that and put on that professional hat. And a lot of times they do a good job at it until you get to the bar and have the fourth cocktail. But for me, I already know what it is. I know that I can never talk about this to anybody, because even if I brought it up to somebody who's on my team, right, that may, you know, that's not African American, the fear that I have is that this person may think the same way. So, you know, I find that as an African American working in these big companies, that you are sort of living in a prison in a lot of ways. And and to be honest, like, I'm pretty envious when I see people able to just kick back and relax, like there's no care in the world. After all of the data dump that I had to sit through in the conference, I'm still hard at work trying to maintain a stoic face while smiling, laughing, and being engaging. So not to appear that I'm uncomfortable. I even go the extra mile because I realize the situation and I know that I have to do this. And working in this environment for 3 decades, I have become a professional at it. Now, don't get me wrong, because I got some white friends that are truly my brothers. I mean, I've known these guys for years. They will walk through fire with me. They will knuckle up and take the first lumps for me in a heartbeat, and they have done that. So I'm not saying all white people, but I think I am saying the vast majority of them, and I'm not blaming them, but this is just what it is. What I am saying is that there is a certain skill that gets developed when you have to work in these environments, but I know how to truly be on my best chameleon, depending on the environment. And I think having that skill has allowed me to be successful. But when it's all said and done and you spent the next 3 to 4 hours trying to maintain yourself and answer these questions in a way that, right, you're not going to alarm anybody or make someone feel comfortable, because, right, the moment I complain, I'm just being sensitive, or I can't take a joke, or, don't be so serious. We're just having a good time here. That's usually how it is. I mean, and this is every single one of these events. I can't remember in the last 30 years where I have gone to one of these functions, and mind you, every year for all these years, for the most part, this is always the case. It's only a matter of time. Sometimes it'll happen inside of the meetings where someone will crack a joke and thinking it's funny, or just say something, probably trying to make themselves comfortable or make you feel comfortable, but they don't realize, man, you wouldn't say that to someone who shares your reflection. You just don't ask those type of questions, and you don't crack those types of jokes. So clearly you see me different. Now, I try and look at it this way, right? This is not all bad, right? There's a lot of good in this, because once they get the truth serum in them, you really know who you're dealing with. Although, after the function's complete and everyone gets back behind their computers or whatever, and you see these folks on a virtual call or an email, right? It's always in the back of your mind, or it brings up this sour memory. But for me, I'm so accustomed to it that I know how to deal with this stuff. And I think that's very important, because if not, man, I think I probably would have just jumped off a bridge a long time ago, or just completely, tapped out of the workforce. But I got to pay my bills like most people. So you really just learn to deal with it. And so the white people, be cognizant. I know, like I said, I'm not saying it's all bad for everybody, but be cognizant on how you ask these questions. Sometimes it may be a good idea to sort of, open up with a disclaimer, say, hey, listen, I really just don't know this. And, the fact that you're an African-American and we work together and I've known you for an extended period of time, like, I want to ask you some questions, man, if that's okay. That changes everything, right? That makes me feel that you genuinely have an interest in understanding whatever it is that you're trying to get your head wrapped around. But I think I'm going to speak for all professional Black folks who have to work with white people in this capacity. We really don't want to feel like we got to be on guard or very protective in what we say, while, sitting amongst you and you're able to just kick back, relax, and just say whatever it is that you want to say. So white people, I don't want you to feel like I'm about to burn a cross in your lawn and come for your necks. I'm just trying to shed some light on this in hopes that it helps you see things a little differently. One could never truly understand how much energy is required to operate in this type of space. There's a great deal of constraint and self-awareness that you must have, because this type of environment really pulls from your energy. Like, it takes every ounce of you just to be able to sit amongst this stuff. Although you would like to just be able to kick back and relax and enjoy your cocktail from such a long day, but it is so important that as an African-American male, I'm not speaking for African-American females, but I would imagine it's the same or probably even worse. You got to keep your wits about yourself so that you don't find yourself in a threatening situation. I'm not talking about fighting someone. I'm talking about your livelihood being affected. Right? You may have a mortgage, you may have kids or a family, and depending on how you react, there's a strong possibility that you can find yourself in a horrible situation, because a lot of these folks that you're, hobnobbing with and having cocktails with could, or, one or two of them could have ties to a leadership position in the company, or may be in line to be the next leader of a certain department in your company. And now they have power and leverage to be able to affect your life. So you just got to be very cognizant. And like I said earlier, for me, I think it's always a great time, and I'm excited about the day that I get to fly out and head out to these nice resorts. But at the same time, it's pretty laborious because it starts months before I even jump on that flight. I analyze all the possibilities that would and could affect me if I allow myself to relax to the point where I can just kick back and let it all hang out. I can't do that. The work continues for me, even when we get to the bar or to the restaurant and sit down for dinner and have drinks. So when everyone else is allowed to just completely chill, after all that product dump and all that conference knowledge, I'm still hard at work monitoring my movements, not to make white people feel uncomfortable. Oh, and by the way, guys, if you made it this far, please don't forget to like the video. It doesn't cost you anything. All you got to do is scroll down and hit that like button. Share this out to somebody you think might benefit from it, and hit that notification bell, because that's the only way you're going to be notified when we drop new content. And trying to drop a video every single week, because like I said, the person you offend by just telling them to cool it down might be connected to a power source somewhere in the company. And now you're seen as a threat because you voice concern. So clearly there are Klansmen in suits still, and they hide their identity well. But like I said earlier, I really don't get mad at this stuff anymore. I know what it is. I know there's some deep-seated issues, and clearly there is a download malfunction.
Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad. Won't you spare me over till another year? Well, I am this, none can excel. I'll open the door to heaven or hell.
System malfunction.